Since the start of the Israel-Hamas war, the U.S. has been trying hard to show China as evil. In doing so, it has spread the news that China is anti-Israel and only supports the cause of the people of Palestine. That's why Israel's permanent ambassador, in addressing the UN, considered China as a rival, an enemy. However, what the Chinese ambassador to the United Nations said literally changed the entire equation. Both the US and Israel's ambassadors were silenced after listening to what the Chinese ambassador said. He made it clear that China was never anti-Israel. It only sides with humanity and will condemn any country that is involved in civilian killings. But what was said that has failed the US plan to make China appear bad in the conflict? And how has China brilliantly handled the sensitive conflict? Welcome back to another exciting episode of our channel. Innovation Diary brings you China's innovation stories, projects, and growing influence in different parts of the world. If you are new to the channel and enjoy learning about fast-paced modernity, especially China's development and growing power, you will definitely find our videos intriguing. In this video, we will explain how China has cleared its leaning, saying that it's neither anti nor pro-Israel, failing all the US plans. Let's get started. Recently, China and Russia vetoed a resolution presented by the US in the United Nations. This resolution supported Israel in continuing the bombing of Gaza, avoiding a ceasefire, and preventing humanitarian aid to millions of struggling and dying Palestinians in Gaza. At that point, Israel expected that both China and Russia would support that. Ignoring that, the resolution made no comments about thousands of civilians who had died in the bombing. All in all, the resolution was one-sided and pro-Israel. Hence, both China and Russia vetoed it. However, this made Israel's ambassador angry, and he conveyed his anger, saying that he was shocked by the response of the countries that rejected the resolution. He mentioned Russia and China, calling them rivals and enemies in implicit words. That's when the Chinese permanent ambassador to the UN decided to tone him down. He said everything very gently, making Israel's ambassador speechless. He started by saying that Israel considers China a rival, an enemy is the very mistake it's making. China is not anti-Israel. If it has not taken Israel's side as the US did, it does not mean that China is an enemy of Israel. He said that from the very start, China's policy about this conflict has been very clear. It always supported the two-state solution. This solution is inevitable, which will ensure long-lasting peace in the region. The root cause of the conflict is the very reason that Palestinians don't have land. They are strangers in the land that once belonged to them. Continuing, he said that if China is condemning attacks on civilians without naming Israel, it's what a country has to do. No country can support civilian killings and bombing on them, and China will always condemn this, whether Israel does this or anyone else. Further giving evidence, he said that just a few days back, China supported the resolution in which Hamas was condemned. However, the US vetoed that resolution. Does this make the US anti-Israel? He said that China supports Israel's right of self-defense, but Palestinians' right to self-defense should also be protected. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel for more videos about China's development, power, and influence on the world. Let's continue now. However, there is another side of the story as well, the one which the West sees. For the West, China's position on the Gaza conflict has raised concerns and generated confusion. It's because Beijing has criticized Israel's extensive attacks on civilians and has condemned violations of international law. Also because President Xi Jinping refrained from commenting on the crisis until after the Third Belt and Road Forum, it made China look anti-Israel. When he did address the issue, he reiterated China's long-standing support for a two-state solution and called for the establishment of a humanitarian corridor to deliver aid to the besieged Gaza Strip. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi went even further, characterizing Israel's bombardment of Gaza's civilian population as actions that have exceeded the boundaries of self-defense. However, Beijing refrained from condemning Hamas for its actions against civilians. Similar to its approach in the Ukraine situation, China is positioning itself as a peace-seeking and neutral major power. It contrasts this approach with that of the United States, which provides unconditional support to Israel, a stance that Beijing considers a destabilizing and violent influence in the region. What's more, Beijing is increasingly aligning with Russia on the Palestinian issue, an unprecedented development aimed at securing a seat at the negotiating table while minimizing costs to both countries and undermining U.S. influence in the region. Chinese officials are engaging in diplomatic interactions with the region, adhering to Beijing's policy of balancing relationships between the Gulf states and Iran, and between regional major powers and Israel. The position which Beijing has taken is meticulously designed to focus on the broader context, such as the need for a two-state solution, addressing humanitarian concerns, and preventing the conflict from escalating regionally. Many believe that China does not aim to replace the United States' position in the Middle East, but it undoubtedly welcomes the United States becoming entangled in another conflict in the region. Chinese experts believe that the more strategic issues outside of East Asia that require Washington's attention, the more time and space China gains to assert its strategic dominance in the Indo-Pacific. China has reiterated its long-standing support for the Palestinian cause, a policy dating back to the time of Mao Zedong. According to Western experts, China follows a policy of what might be termed anti-Western neutrality, which means remaining neutral without explicitly condemning any country or force that challenges Western dominance in the global order. This, in turn, helps secure backing for Chinese positions on critical issues like Xinjiang and Taiwan, as well as for Xi's vision of global governance, as encapsulated in his signature initiatives, the Global Development Initiative, the Global Security Initiative, and the Global Civilization Initiative. China has also sought to foster regional unity, urging the Islamic world to speak with one voice alongside China on the Palestinian issue. Experts believe that by emphasizing its neutral stance and presenting itself as a voice for the global South, China aims to challenge the United States' moral standing and promote the internationalization of the issue. This includes a call for a global conference to initiate a peace process, potentially removing Washington from its long-held position as the uncontested mediator in the conflict. The ultimate goal is to undermine the United States' global influence and secure the discourse power battle by capitalizing on worldwide sympathy for the Palestinian cause. One of the reasons why China's policy is not anti-Israel is their economic cooperation. However, this shows two things. One, it makes it certain that China's policy on the Israel-Hamas conflict is not anti-Israel. However, secondly, it shows that despite China having economic cooperation with Israel, it does not support Israel's every action, especially if that action is killing and bombing civilians. That's why we saw China condemning Israel and supporting its right to self-defense at the same time. Hence, the Israel-Gaza conflict provides a valuable opportunity to explore how China manages economic and political considerations amid rising geopolitical tensions. This situation poses a challenge as China seeks to strike a delicate balance between its economic interests and political alliances in an increasingly fragmented global landscape. The relationship between China and Israel is often described as having cold politics and hot economics. Despite differing political goals, China and Israel have deepened their economic connections over the past decade. Notably, Israel was the largest recipient of Chinese investment among Middle Eastern countries from 2015 to 2018, according to AEI's China Global Investment Tracker. As per IUSS's China Connects database, China has invested in more Belt and Road Initiative and BRI-like projects in Israel than in any other country in the region, even though Israel hasn't officially joined the BRI. The significant infrastructure projects led by China in Israel are unprecedented, especially given Israel's status as a developed economy. In other words, in this case, Israel needs China's economic support more than its political support. Similarly, like many developed economies, Israel attracts substantial Chinese investments in advanced technology sectors. China's engagement with Israel reflects its techno-nationalism, with the Chinese government encouraging private enterprises to invest in Israeli technology. This has led to the growth of Chinese private investments alongside state-affiliated investments in Israel since 2014. In 2021 alone, China invested over $2 billion in Israel. Given Israel's significance in advanced technological development, it's considered a crucial source for China to access critical technology, especially as the United States and other Western nations have increasingly restricted China's participation in their tech sectors. China's imports from Israel, according to official investment guidance from China's Commerce Ministry, predominantly consist of high-tech products, including electronic equipment, medical instruments, and telecommunications products. Furthermore, a report by the RAND Corporation revealed that between 2011 and 2018, China made the most substantial investments in Israel's technology sector, both in terms of monetary value, amounting to $5.7 billion, and the number of companies, 54 out of 87 investments. These investments were carried out through venture capital or tech firms, including both private and state-owned companies. some of which have been considered controversial by Western countries, such as Huawei and ZTE. We would like to take a moment to appreciate you all for commenting and sharing your opinions. Your insights always impress us. What do you think? Where does China stand in the conflict? Isn't it true that quite a long time ago, China took the unambiguous policy of supporting a two-state solution for resolving the Israel-Palestine conflict? Let us know your thoughts on how the US will once again start its propaganda against China. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing and growing its influence. Thanks for watching. And until the next video, stay tuned.